I mean, just about everywhere it's illegal, right? So even the Czech Republic and Amsterdam or Holland, I suppose, and Portugal and other places, it's decriminalized, but it's still illegal. And so, what I would say is that if you want to find ways to improve your mental health, I think that stepping outside the law and taking substances whose quality is questionable, because it's all in the black market, right? So there's no sort of public corporate entities whose reputation and income rests upon the quality of their product. I mean, it could be mixed up with some bad stuff. It could be you don't exactly know the dosage. It's risky. So it's risky from a medical standpoint to take drugs at the moment because you don't know what's in there or what dosage is there specifically. You have very little recourse, if not no recourse, to any kind of bad product that you get. And it's illegal, so it's stressful from that standpoint. So I think put all of that together, it's just not the way to go as far as trying to have a happier and more relaxed life. Just do it in a way that you're not breaking the law or wondering what the hell you're putting into your body.
Right. So I guess I could say that right now, at this point in time, I guess the best thing that can be done would be to expand the awareness of these things and try to extend.
No. I don't agree with that, because it doesn't matter whether drugs are beneficial or not. It doesn't matter. That's an argument from effect. It doesn't matter whether heroin is good for your mental health or bad for your mental health. The only thing that matters is, are you initiating the use of force if you take heroin? And of course you're not. The reason the drugs should be perfectly legal is that it does not require the initiation of force to grow, to refine, to transport, to sell, and to ingest these drugs. To say, well, it depends whether it's beneficial or not, doesn't matter. Because it may be beneficial to some people, it may be incredibly harmful to other people. I believe that drugs are very harmful to the majority of people, but that's just my opinion, and I've got some evidence for it, but I'm not going to say it's a closed case. But you can't sort of say drugs, we should try to improve the perception of the value of drugs, because it doesn't depend on that. I mean, Twinkies are almost universally bad for you, I'm sure. And so does that mean they should be legal or not? The benefits don't matter. The only thing that matters, at least from a philosophical standpoint, from an ethical standpoint, the only thing that matters is, does the activity violate the non-aggression principle? If it doesn't violate the non-aggression principle, then people should just leave each other the hell alone to do with what they want. And if it does violate the non-aggression principle, then there should be sanctions against those people. In a free society, I doubt that they would be the police and the prisons and so on. But I think that's if I were you and you wanted to sort of advocate for the legalization of drugs, which is certainly something I'm for, I don't want to get into this study or that study. It's just simpler than that. Is anybody pointing a gun at anybody? No? Then get your nose out of other people's business. Not yours, right, but other people.
Right, yeah, I definitely understand. I agree. It's definitely, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't be sort of, I shouldn't be taking that route because, that's the most immediate thing I should be looking at is, just leaving, using the non-aggression principle and leaving people the hell alone, like what you're saying.
There's an old saying that Puritan, I think it's Puritanism. Puritanism is the nagging terror that somewhere, somehow, someone is having fun. And I think that a lot of people don't like drugs because people clearly have a lot of fun on drugs. I mean, people clearly have a lot of fun at raves. People clearly have really enjoy the mellow that comes out of doing marijuana. People clearly enjoy the 1,000 orgasm hit of heroin. People really, really enjoy that stuff. And I know that when I was younger, I always had this nagging fear that I was just way too much of a tight ass, that I was just way too uptight and responsible and straight-laced and middle of the road and square and boring, and that there were these people just having this ball out there. It's the train spotting thing, where just people are, they don't try to fit in, they don't try to live life like everybody else. They just go and do their thing. Like a friend of mine, when he was younger, he just went and traveled around the world, and he picked garbage, and he would go to pizza places when they were just shutting down, and he would find usually a pizza that somebody had ordered but not picked up or whatever that they'd give him for free, or he just did this thing where, and to me this was mind-blowing. savagely irresponsible. But I had to sort of recognize that that's his choice. There are benefits to it. There are costs to it. I was, Mr. Responsible, Mr. Get an education, Mr. Get a career, Mr. Keep money in the bank, and I'm still that way in a lot of ways. But I really do kind of envy people who can do that into the wild thing. Just stuff that I couldn't imagine. Like a guy I worked with, he was a sailor, and he took his children for 3 or 4 years sailing around the Caribbean, and he homeschooled them on his boat. I mean, this shit blows my mind that people do that kind of stuff. Now, of course, I yell at the internet for money, so who am I to talk? But I think that if you're happy with your own choices, then it's a lot easier to live and let live. I think if people fundamentally aren't happy with their own choices, then other people's fun bugs the living shit out of them. And there is a lot of fun in having drugs, and I've certainly thought about it. I've contemplated it. I've certainly been encouraged by many people to do them, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think it's much more of a deeper phenomenon than do they help certain people with mental health issues. I think it's a really deep phenomenon around most people are not very happy with their life choices because they've made very few of them, right? They've just gone on these train tracks of societal expectations, like you get to school, you go to college, you get a professional career, you do whatever, right? You get married, you have kids. They're just on this kind of track laid down by society, whether it's religious or professional or whatever. And, you cheer for this sports team, not that sports team, right? You cheer for this country's flag, not that country's flag. You respect the troops, not the philosophers, whatever, right? And so people don't really make choices. And if they don't make choices, we are what we choose. I mean, if we don't making choices, we don't actually have an identity. And then people get kind of depressed. I think it's true that most people live lives of quiet desperation because they just haven't made choices or made commitments to anything or served anything higher than themselves that wasn't invented by priests or politicians. So they're just not happy with themselves. They haven't made decisions. They haven't self-actualized. So then other people who are off there making different decisions, whether it's to be an artist or whether it's to be, not that it's a decision to be gay, but who are gay or who are doing drugs or who have done, as Timothy Leary suggests, tune in, turn off, turn on and drop out. People who take these different approaches, they really do threaten this. I'm sorry for the speechifying. I'll just end up with, there's a scene in Easy Rider when Peter Fonda and Jack Nicholson and the dude from Speed, Dennis Hopper, they go into this bar and they've got, long hair and they're hippies and they're riding their bikes around and they're having a whole lot of fun. I mean, it's a whole lot of fun. Who wouldn't want to just get off on a motorcycle and ride around the country and, do drugs and sit by the firelight and sing songs and, bed women. That's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. And they go into this bar, and there are all of these rednecks who are just incredible. You can smell the hostility coming off them. And this hatred, and it's been years and years since I saw the film, so I'm sure I'll get this wrong. But one of them turns to the other and says, this is supposed to be the country of freedom. This is supposed to be the country of choice. This is supposed to be the country of opportunity. But the moment you take a choice or an opportunity or make a decision that's different from everybody else, everybody comes down on you like a ton of bricks. Right? So everybody praises freedom in the abstract, but the moment they come across it in reality, they freak out and they want to clamp down and lash out. And so I think that America, because of its highly religious society, and it has a problem with people making different choices. It has a problem with people dropping out or taking alternative lifestyles. And religion has a problem with drugs because drugs reveal that you can have incredibly vivid quasi-religious experiences that have nothing to do with God. That God is in, a single dose of LSD, not in history or in the clouds or all around us. So I'm sorry for the long speech, but this was just some of my thoughts on the subject.
Rightly so, and I appreciate that. I really do. And I appreciate your show, and I'm going to do a lot more research into this and look at this issue in more of a different perspective, not going towards the argument of the fact, but more of those principles that you're talking about, because that is important right there, and it's better than sort of researching this like some libertarians would do. They got to have like an encyclopedia knowledge when it's simple, like what you've said before in the past. And
yeah, look, sorry, what you can do is if somebody is anti-drug, hopefully you're at their house, just go through their CD collection. You know, if they've got any country music, it's mostly grass and alcohol, right? If they've got any hip hop, there's other kind of drugs involved with that. A lot of pop and rock have been heavily influenced by drugs. If they have just about anything anything from the 60s and the 70s, for some particularly symphonic rock, I mean, that's if they've got any Queen. It's like, okay, so let's scour your record collection for any music that was created under the influence of drugs, and you're left with, like, I don't know, Perry Como and, I don't know, Casey and the Sunshine Gang or something. Actually, probably not even those guys. I think the Sunshine Gang was a metaphor for something. It's like, okay, so let's ban all of the music that was created under the influence. But people don't ever want that kind of stuff. But you can't get one without the other.
Listen.